This is a German Street audio introduction for Eurydice by Sarah Rule, directed by Stella Powell-Jones. Eurydice runs from the 3rd of October to the 9th of November 2024 at Jermyn Street Theatre, located at 16B Jermyn Street, London, SW1Y 6ST, an intimate basement theatre of 70 seats. This introduction is intended to give visually impaired theatregoers an advanced description of the set, the characters, their costumes, and other visual elements before coming to see the play. In an effort to describe the play's evolving visuals, it may contain some minor spoilers. Information on accessibility will be given at the end. The play lasts approximately 90 minutes with no interval. The overview on the Jermyn Street website begins with a quote. "Love is a big, funny word." Synopsis. Welcome to the underworld. Meet a chorus of stones, a tiny tyrant on a hobby horse, and a river that makes you forget your own name. Will our heroine Eurydice be doomed to an eternity in this topsy-turvy land of the dead? Or can she follow her lover's song back to life? Tony Award nominee Sarah Rule and artistic director Stella Powell-Jones reunite at Jermyn Street Theatre this autumn. Refocusing the classic myth on its heroine, this is a witty and inventive fresh look on a timeless love story that asks, what happens when we die? And what happens when we live? The set, space and visual elements. The walls and floor of the stage for Eurydice are painted a mottled dark blue, highlighted with daubs of white, an impressionistic texture that simultaneously suggests organic forms such as underwater, stone or constellations. Blue curtains hang at the back of the stage, covering the left and right thirds, with characters entering and exiting through the central portion, but for one who enters from the audience at 10 minutes. There are 8 curved stage boxes on the stage of varying heights, and at the start of the play they are mostly arranged in a tiered fashion stage right, forming a half moon of 5 incomplete levels, abstractly reminiscent of a miniature amphitheatre, with only one medium-height box stage left. These boxes will be used in various changing configurations to provide landscape and seating for the actors throughout the play. For example, after about 34 minutes, several of the smaller boxes will be arranged in a circle stage left, then encircled with a string to form a room. Another use is when one of these boxes is used as a sort of desk after 45 minutes, with a telephone and a globe placed atop it. The tallest of these boxes, located immediately to stage right upon entering through the centre, has a lid that can be removed, revealing a bowl of water and a collection of stones within it. This bowl of water is sometimes drank from, and at times represents a river that the characters immerse themselves in by splashing water over their faces. Although there are various locations described or implied throughout the play, they broadly fall into one of 2 categories, the overworld and the underworld. These 2 locations are often playing out simultaneously on stage, with the overworld more commonly assigned stage right and the underworld stage left, with the actors on either side being unaware of each other. Despite this, there is a frequent use of letters to communicate between them, which are written by the characters and then posted into thin air to fall on the floor and be retrieved in the other world. On several occasions, characters attempt to read these letters by standing on them. These 2 distinct areas are further separated by a use of lighting that assigns more saturated colours to the above world and more neutral or washed-out colours to the underworld. At the start of the play, during a period of relative joy, the above world is lit in deep, warm orange. This, however, becomes a more sombre blue as events unfold. Meanwhile, the action in the underworld is lit white, often via spot lighting of the characters. Light will also strobe from behind the curtains as Eurydice is caught between them in a spasmodic dance before entering the underworld. Blue flickering light will then represent rain upon her arrival, when she will attempt to speak, mouthing words that are heard as loud wailing drones. After 40 minutes after the line, "Act like a stone," there are stark shards of light. At 57 minutes, lights come on unexpectedly from within the stage boxes themselves. There is near constant light swirling smoke. Leaving the underworld, the light will become warmer, then blink out to spots, leaving those left in the underworld to fade into darkness. Eurydice is played by Eve Ponsonby.
Hello, my name is Eve Ponsonby. I'm 33. I'm she, her. I'm white British. I've got long, strawberry blondie hair. I've got a fringe that gets in the way a bit when acting. I've got blue eyes and I'm 5'4" and relatively slim. Eurydice's costumes, my costumes, I start the show wearing a lovely burnt orange swimsuit with a sarong that's kind of tie-dyed oranges and dark reds. I have a pair of swimming goggles, blue swimming goggles on. And then you see me in a wedding dress, but this wedding dress is blue. It's a pale, silky, spaghetti straps, pale blue, and then it tie-dyes to a darker blue at the bottom. It's a long dress, silky, cut on the bias, so it's got a nice swirl at the bottom. And then when I go into the underworld, I get a white string dress on top, which is sort of kind of netting almost, a bit ripped, a bit ragged, so you can still see the blue dress underneath, but just adds another layer. I would say Eurydice's demeanour, I'd say I've got quite intense and angular movements, quite fast, jerky, which is in contrast to the more dreamy and gentle movements of Orpheus. Props-wise, I have goggles, like I said in the first scene when we're at the beach. And then when I come into the underworld, I have a suitcase and an umbrella. We use string when we get married for our wedding dance. And much later on, I have a pen and a piece of paper to write a letter to Orpheus. When we get married, we've created this dance which was inspired by hand fasting. So Orpheus and I have a long piece of string and we wind our way in towards one another. And then when the song really kicks off, it's a jitterbug. So we're doing a jitterbug, which I don't know if I can describe very well. It's a kind of a bouncy dance, a partner dance. So we're holding hands and it's quite bouncy and we're stepping forward and back and in and out towards one another. At one point in the underworld, I open my suitcase and I forget that there's nothing packed in it. And I end up climbing into the suitcase. I think for a bit of safety. I think I'm a bit scared and I don't know where I am and what's going on, and so I cocoon myself into the suitcase. And another prop that I have is the complete works of Shakespeare. So Orpheus sends me the complete works of Shakespeare from the world of the living into the world of the dead. And when I receive it in the world of the dead, in the underworld, the complete works of Shakespeare is covered in soil and it comes from the sky, and I find it and then spend a lot of time reading it or learning how to read it and then reading it. On the set, we have a beautiful dish of water. I use it in the world of the living at my wedding to drink from, like a water fountain. So I have a glass and I just scoop water out of it to have a drink. And then later, once we're in the land of the dead, that dish of water represents the river, which we dip ourselves in to forget. So at the end of the play, I splash my face with water from that dish of water, and that means I forget everything.
Orpheus is played by Keaton Gomaris Tolley.
My name is Keaton Gomaris Tolley. I'm 25. My pronouns are he, him. I am British Portuguese. I'm a white man with brown hair, curly hair, brown eyes, 6'2", and slim, lanky, long legs and long arms. So Orpheus wears lots of costumes in the show. He wears a burnt orange, like two-piece like shirt and some short shorts while we're on the beach. Then there's like a tie-dye shirt with a pale blue suit for the wedding. I've then got a white string vest underneath that suit that comes off at some point in the show when I'm asleep and talking about my dreams. I've got a blue raincoat, like a Mac thing with like a hood that's got lots of wax on it because it's raining outside, that I wear in the storm scene in the show. And then in the last scene of the show, I wear like a blue scarf around my neck to show that time's passed. And I've got these lovely little beige shoes that I wear throughout the show. My guitar is a brown guitar, brown classical Alhambra guitar. It's got 6 strings, and I play it during the show. I play it in the first scene. I also play it when the string room is being built in the show. I play this kind of folky, minor, kind of sad song with it, but it's quite small. It's kind of beat up. There's a couple of scratches on it, and there's a brown strap that I wear for it to be transported around the stage, so I don't have to carry it in my hand. It's just on my person. I'm on the phone to the operator trying to get through to Eurydice, trying to find out where she is. And I've got a white telephone with a very long lead and a big light-up globe that doesn't light up, but it's got the capacity to, so it's quite big and it's kind of see-through. And I get tangled up in the long cable of the phone, and it kind of pops up and then pops off the little blue part of the stage. So when I go down into the underworld, I do... In the fall into the underworld, I have this straw. My plan is to go through a straw, so there's a bit of physical movement using a long blue straw that I put in my mouth with my head facing the ceiling. And the lights all go off and I move my body in these very legato and like slow, but then also kind of sharp, quick movements with the straw in my mouth while I'm travelling down into the underworld. And then after I get told that the plan to get Eurydice back is to keep walking, and we do this movement sequence on top of all of the blocks where I'm stood. I'm holding a piece of string behind me and Eurydice is on the other end. We don't get to see her right until the very last moment when she calls my name out. But throughout that movement sequence, I'm holding the long piece of string that's taut in my left hand near the curtain, and balancing on the blue stage pieces and keeping my other arm out so I don't fall off. I think Orpheus is extremely consumed by his music and is in pursuit of something greater than the tangible and the kind of very like physical world. I think he lives in the sky. I think he lives in his dreams. I think he lives in the air. So throughout the show, he's very much elsewhere. Even when with Eurydice, I think he's occupied. So my movements are quite slow and sustained, in contrast to Eurydice is quite direct. I would say that he's very indirect, very messy, a little bit chaotic at points, but not in a destructive way, in a very kind of, sustained and floaty and, almost dreamy, I would say. Yeah.
The father is played by Dickon Tyrrell.
Hello, my name is Dickon Tyrrell and I'm 58, he, him. I'm English. I have grey hair, blue-green eyes, and I'm 6'2" and big guy. With a beard, I have a small beard, a little beard at the front, very sort of like almost Elizabethan Jacobean sort of beard. So, yes, the father, he wears a pair of suede shoes, bluish cords. I have a white shirt, I have a blue-grey tie, and I have a sort of blue-grey cardigan that has a bit of detail in it with white wool, just to show, really, I think, to tell the story that he's in the underworld, so it's got an otherness to it. So that's the story, bit of the story being told in the costume there. The father is... Well, he says about his dad, he says, my father was a very gentle man. And I think, for looking at the play, that's who he is. He's a very gentle man and very much in love with his daughter. So that gives him a very, I suppose, a mellow sort of tempo and a warmth in his language. So even though he's dead, he's quite relaxed in the underworld. That's how I'd say he is in the play. So the music plays, and I think the logic is I'm on my way to work and I hear the music, and because one loses the memory in the underworld, I hear this music and there's a jolt, which the music makes me do a step back, which is the memory of the dance coming back to the father. And as the music goes on, the dance seems to become clearer in his memory, and the steps become much more noticeable. And he also has a good time. He starts to enjoy himself through dancing. And it's interesting, I think that tags back to what he says at the beginning when he offers advice to Eurydice at her wedding. He says, cultivate the arts of dancing and small talk. So I think he likes the joy of dancing. So, but that's that. So in that moment in the underworld, he hears the music and the memory of the dance comes back, which is a bit of a theme of the underworld, about losing your memory and trying to find your memory again. And I think Sarah's suggesting that, you are your memories. Your memories are you. So I have the briefcase, which is I'm on my way to work. So in the underworld, he says, I'm working in the business world now. So the briefcase represents me going to work, showing me taking my documents or whatever to work. When I encounter Eurydice, she doesn't know who I am as the father. And then I say, when you were alive, I was your tree. I have the umbrella in my hand, and I think the father gets the idea to create the tree by putting the umbrella up, and she's sitting at my feet, and I'm tall, so 6'2", hold with the umbrella above our heads, means that I think we look like I look like a tree for her, and she's at the foot of the tree. So that's quite a strong visual image that we hold for maybe 3 minutes. So I have letters I write. I've been in the underworld for 6 years maybe. So I've been writing letters to Eurydice every day. So I start the play with a letter. I take a letter to Eurydice that Orpheus has sent her. Yes, so they're my 2 letter props. So when Eurydice arrives, wherever she is, she thinks there's a hotel and I'm a porter and she wants a room. And of course, there are no rooms in the underworld. However, being the kind and loving father that I am, I find a way to build a room, but I build it out of string. And I build this little area that becomes our home, I suppose, in the underworld. And that's where we sit and we chat for 3, 4, 5 scenes maybe. With Eurydice gone, I find it very difficult now to live in the underworld because I've had such a second chance at building my relationship with Eurydice again. I decide to dip myself in the river, which means essentially you don't die, but you lose your memories. You lose everything that made you you. So I dip myself into the river. I have quite a few lines about finding my way back to the river. I remove the lid off to reveal that there's a basin with water, and I put my hands into the basin and fill my hands with water, and I throw that over my face, and then there's a bing, which you'll hear, and that then is, when that's happened, I then try to show that I don't know really where I am, that my personality has left me, so I look slightly bemused, so I look to the audience and look around the stage as if I don't know where I am anymore. And then I lie down, and that's me in that state, that Buddhist state of just existing.
The nasty, interesting man and the Lord of the Underworld are played by Joe Wilcher Smith.
Hello, my name is Joe Wilcher Smith. I'm 29 years old. I'm a he, him in pronouns. I'm white. I'm Welsh, as you can probably tell. I'm short and I'm stocky. Blue eyes, brown hair. Yeah, short back and sides, short hair. Yes, and a beard, medium-y length, maybe. The nasty, interesting man wears a 3-piece pinstripe grey suit with a bowler hat. I have a red paisley tie with a tie pin in it. I'm also wearing some braces underneath my costume, which are revealed when I take off my jacket, and then I'm just in a waistcoat. On my hands, I'm wearing a pair of lacy black gloves that are a sort of sheer material. And then on my feet, I am wearing a pair of black lace-up shoes. So my character is quite mercurial, maybe even slightly Machiavellian, and he is there to lead Eurydice astray. There's a sequence in which he is trying it on with Eurydice and backs her quite literally into a corner and gets close to her in a sexually aggressive demeanour. Once we get to the nasty, interesting man's apartment, the three treads are aligned in a way that makes it look like a staircase. Once we enter the flat, I am at the top of this staircase looking down at Eurydice and showing her my very swanky high-rise apartment. Once we go descend into the underworld, he changes into the silhouette or the costume of a child, and not just in a materialistic sense of what he's wearing, but also in demeanour. He becomes more childish, puerile, explorative, and tactile then. The costume takes elements from the nasty, interesting man. He's wearing the same grey pinstripe, but this time it's in a pair of schoolboy shorts. There's also the grey is reflected in a pair of knee-high socks, the same shoes from the nasty, interesting man. There's a grey pullover or tank top that he wears, a grey schoolboy's tie with a red stripe through it. And on his head, he wears a schoolboy's cap. Again, I didn't go to a private school, so I don't know what that is. But again, a kind of schoolboy's cap that he wears that has a dark blue and grey design on it. He's also wearing those lovely black sheer lacy gloves all the way up to the arm. And the shirt that I have on is also pinstripe too, like the nasty, interesting man, although this time it's short sleeve, if I haven't mentioned that. And in his hand, he carries a hobby horse that is for a child and is significantly smaller than I am, which has got red wheels on the bottom of it. It looks quite Victorian in that sense, and it's got a kind of red and black design and a kind of haunted expression on the horse's face, red eyes, black mane. Oh yeah, he's got this kind of, I don't know, it's like a bracelet combined into like a set of rings, and there are chains that are kind of connected to each rings on the hand. It's a kind of weird sort of steampunky looking thing.
The chorus of stones are played by Katie Britton, small stone, Tom Morley, large stone, and Leon Stoltz Hunter, loud stone.
Hello, my name's Tom Morley. I'm playing one of the stones, the big stone. I am 32 years old. My pronouns are he, him. I am white, Caucasian. My hair is brown and sort of ear length. And my eyes are blue, and I'm 6 foot with a medium build.
Hello, I'm Katie Britton. I'm playing Little Stone. My pronouns are she, her. I'm white Caucasian. My hair colour is brown, in a kind of bob. And my eyes are hazel. I'm 57. And I'm 5'1". Thank you.
Hello there. My name is Leon Stoltz Hunter. I'm 29 years old. My pronouns are he, him. I am of mixed ethnicity, mixed heritage, white and Afro-Caribbean. My hair is short, black, buzz cut. Eye colour, brown, and I am 6'2", and I guess you'd say an athletic build.
Yeah. Mm. Yes, so the three of us are in long, flowing, grey, kind of dress-like fabric. It's stretchy fabric, so we can create different shapes with our arms and legs. It goes down to the floor just over our toes, and it has little holes in each side for our arms. And underneath that dress, we are wearing a grey one-piece
bodysuit.
Bodysuit, yeah. And we each have different headpieces that we wear.
My one is kind of just one big point, and so you can only see our faces. Yes, so it's one big point, and our makeup is just a kind of grey pallor to make us look either stone-like or dead, really.
This is Leon here. I play the Loudstone. My headdress has 2 points that are slightly off centre. It's rather large, probably about 15, 16 inches tall. The headdress is sort of like you could describe it as something that like a Renaissance nun or Baroque nun might wear.
So my headpiece is very similar to the other two. It has 2 points, but it is slanted slightly to the left.
The gown is pinched, almost it's sort of in a Grecian style. The shapes that we make throughout the piece. So there are a lot. So as we're playing a chorus and a chorus of stone throughout the piece, there's loads of different shapes that we get into to sort of give the image of a set of stones together. The first one is the three of us sat side by side. Little stone is in the middle. Big stone is on the left-hand side. Loud stone is on the right-hand side. And then from that point, we are sort of watching the audience and making different faces throughout.
And we do a lot of our gestures in unison. So when Eurydice comes on, we will all turn our head. There are points in the play where we have to mimic emotion. If you like, there's a point in the play where Eurydice wants to start crying and she can't. But the stones, we start crying a little bit instead of her, so our faces a kind of grimace, and then we can snap out of it pretty quickly.
Yeah, we often go back to a neutral, so we're looking out to the audience with a neutral face as if we were waiting for a bus or something,
Yes.
and we're sort of broken out of that into the action by things that Eurydice says or things that happen in the play. When it starts to rain, we fold into each other, so...
We become a great big lump,
Yeah.
really, one big stone.
Big stone, a kind of boulder.
Yeah.
There's a few moments where we move blocks in the piece. There's one in which Eurydice is walking down she's in the underworld, she's walking down the wedding aisle towards Orpheus, and we move a block to block her way, and we move it into a formation that we call the serpentine. It looks a little bit like a serpent, and that is just a spin of this block. We move it upstage left, and then it adjoins the room, which is in a circular formation. And
Yeah, I mean, basically we play the standard Greek chorus, as in we say a lot of our stuff together, but it's a little bit more anarchic and a little bit less formal and a bit more fun.
Directions to the theatre. 16B Jermyn Street, London, SW1Y6ST, can be reached via a 2-minute walk from Piccadilly Circus Station on the Piccadilly and Bakerloo lines. Simply exit the station via exit 3, head momentarily south down Regent Street, St James's, then take the first right onto Jermyn Street. The theatre entrance is 140 foot away, next door to Papal's restaurant and opposite Tesco and Rowley's restaurant. From Green Park Station, it's a 9-minute walk. Turn right out of the Piccadilly South Side exit, walk down Piccadilly, past the Ritz Hotel, take the second right onto St James's Street and the first left onto Jermyn Street. The theatre is a third of a mile away at the other end of the road. Accessibility at the Jermyn Street Theatre. There is regrettably no wheelchair access. Jermyn Street Theatre is down a steep flight of steps in an old building, and despite best efforts, it has not proved possible to provide a lift or stair lift. Patrons with fold-up wheelchairs are often able to attend. The stairs descend straight from the entrance. After descending the first flight of steps, you enter a tiny corridor. The 70-seat theatre is to the right, down another short flight of steps. The box office and bar are located here to the left. If you're bringing your guide or assistance dog with you when you come, or require any other access assistance, please let the box office team help you. Call them on 020 7287 2875 and ask to speak to Penny Horner. A reminder that during the performance it is not possible to access the toilets. Before and after the performance, the toilets can be accessed by turning right behind the right-hand side curtain, then left into the corridor behind. Ladies, then gender-neutral easy access, and finally the gents' toilets are located in that corridor. Eurydice runs from the 3rd of October to the 9th of November 2024, with showings Monday to Saturday 7:30pm and Tuesday and Saturday at 3pm. Tickets are £35, £31 concession, available to over 65s, theatre unions, students, anyone with access needs or in receipt of universal credit. There are relaxed performances each week open to everyone. Relaxed performances are an opportunity for audiences to enjoy a show when the theatre and auditorium rules are eased, making it a more inviting environment for all. For any other information, please call 020 7287 2875 or visit the website at germanstreettheatre.co.uk.